So when we started all this, we kind of talked a little bit about the internet, and you've always kind of been a figure in the wrestling industry on the internet, and the people that follow it through the internet. And WWE during your time there attempted to tap into that market more than they had.
Right.
They were trying to get fans and trying to figure out. They've always been trying to figure out how to use their website, how to use WWE.com. One of the ways they came up with was to basically create their own social networking site among their fans with the WWE Universe. And part of that was they had you guys blogging and getting on there. So what was that like for you to kind of use that site?
I had been brought up, and I wasn't used very well. And then all of a sudden, they were giving everybody on the roster a Universe site. And I went right away. I said, I need this Universe site. And they're like, all right. And I said, I'm going to blog because they gave me the site. They didn't want me to, I was kind of worried that they'd get mad that I blogged, but I said, no, they gave me the site. I'm going to blog, and I'm not going to do it in wrestling thing. The point is, all these wrestlers had, wrestling blogs, and I'm just going to do fun-loving, get some attention blogs, and I'm going to use this to get myself over. I'm going to use it. I had every intention, I had every idea to use this blog to get myself over, and that's what I did. And I did fun blogs. And I was the number, Kevin Thorne told me how to look up the numbers, and I would track the numbers. And I had, 5 times the numbers of blogs that Michelle McCool, that Jeff Hardy, that were, Helms, very internet savvy guys, people that the internet loved. I had, my numbers were 5 times, and I'm not saying that I'm better than them. I'm saying, if the people love these guys, if you just give me a shot on TV, I think you would. They would like Scotty because look how over he is on the internet. If he can get over in this little area, well then he can get, put him in a giant area and he'll be able to get over. Just like I did at OVW, just like I did ROH, just like I did IWA, just like I did my whole career. So I used that to a vehicle, and I'll just step right to the What's Crackin', and because that brought attention. I would forward my blogs to all the writers, and I would forward the blogs, the Brian Blair one. I did one where I wore the Brian Blair trunks, and he was going for the Hillsborough County, and I wore Killer Bee trunks in front of his sign. I had the Awesome Town one where I had a picture of Roddy in there. He was my roommate at the time, and I was doing fun blogs that involved wrestling and also real life, and nobody was doing that. And I forwarded, and the goal is to pop these writers, to go, look how creative I am, man. I can make you laugh. I can make everyone laugh. Let's, hey. So, I was making ideas. At this point, I was sending ideas bi-weekly, sending 2 great ideas a week in my mind. And the big thing was Randy Orton and Manu on Talk Soup. And at that time, Sports Soup had come out. And I said, wow, they did a... what's it called? Not a parody, but they came up. They took the idea of Talk Soup and they came up with Sports Soup. And I don't think anybody watches Sports Soup. I'm not sure, but that clicked in my mind that they did an offshoot of Talk Soup. And so I said WWE Soup, and I pitched it right away to the writers. I said, I want to do WWE Soup. We'll do clips, and then I'll make fun of it like Joe McHale. And hey, they called me to the TV and they said, we're going to do your idea. They said, we're not going to do like Talk Soup, we're going to do it like The Daily Show or The Colbert Report with Scotty Goldman. And I was leaving on a Monday night. I got a call Monday night as I was getting on the plane, and he said, think of some ideas. This is what you're doing. And I was going to come there Tuesday, and I got there Tuesday, and I didn't do, nobody got with me till like 4 o'clock. I was like, fuck. So on the plane, I had written down on a barf bag some funny jokes of what I thought could be with Talk Soup. And when I got there, the writer said, okay, you're going to go with this guy. Now, I was getting my own internet show. I was very excited about it. I didn't know how to format it worked. I wasn't really sure. All I knew is I could be funny, and let's come up with some stuff, and here's some ideas I had. And they plugged me with this guy named Joe, who had just came off of Monk. Now, I don't fault writers at all. I thought the writers were great. I thought a lot of the young, people knock on creative. I don't knock on creative. The young creative guys got me, and they got me to where they got. The older guys didn't get me, and there's a lot more older guys in higher positions than there is the young kids who are hungry. The young kids got me, and they pushed me up, and then I think it was Nick's. This is all my opinion. I think it was Nick's because then the older people just didn't understand my humor, and which is unfortunate because, you know, and I told Vince McMahon, I said, I'm going to get you 18 to 34 years old. That's what I am. That's the market I'm getting you. People relate to it, and that's, you know, that's what's hot. And I pitched them on alternative comedy like Andy Samberg and Zach Galifianakis, because those are, you know, those are what are hot. Whatever. Yeah. So they give me Joe from Monk. Later brags to me how he wrote for Jay Leno. Yeah, you're not bragging, because Jay Leno is the most unfunniest motherfucker in the world. And, you know, here I am, like I said, I love the young comedians, Dimitri Martin, Zach Galifianakis, Eugene Merman, you know, whatever. And you're giving me fucking the guy from Monk, and he's telling me these jokes, and he's like, this will be funny. I'd be like, no, man. And this guy's like 60. I forgot to answer that. I was like, no, man, that ain't funny, bro. And like I remember what Al said, like there's some stuff that you know, like, you got to go into business for yourself. And I said, listen, man. And we were sitting down like bouncing ideas off him. And I said, listen, man, this ain't funny, bro. I go, I don't want to do that. And he's like, oh, okay. You know, and he was real new, and later got fired because he sucked, because it wasn't funny and he was pointless, and he wrote for Monk. And I like Monk, but come on, it's, you know, the new age Murder, She Wrote. And you know, like I watch it. You know, I used to watch Murder, She Wrote back in the day. But anyways, so the first one kind of got, if you remember, the first one was, it kind of got edited. The ones after that weren't edited, but the first one was, my one joke was, hey, have you seen the most annoying guy in the history of the WWE? And it pops Brian Kendrick. And then they show, I go, no, not him. Then they show Dolph Ziggler. And the first joke was, that was supposed to be Damian Demento, going, hey, I'm Damian Demento. And because I didn't say it, like Damian Demento, they put the other guy in there. And that was my first, like, hey, like, I'm going to be on the internet. I'm going to cater to the internet people. They're going to know that joke. And then the next one was, the end of it was, hey, I was always taught to shake with my left hand, Dolph, because, and then the joke was, I wiped my nose with my right, and then I shook Joey's hand. Well, the joke was, I always was taught to shake with my left hand because I jerk off with my right. That was my joke, because Dolph Ziggler was doing the handshaking thing. Later we changed it to, because I wipe with my right, which I thought, all right, that's all right, you know. And then later, Joe fucking Monk is going, let's do it. I shake with my left because there's some sticky substance in my right. And I was just like, oh, Joe, like, this is my first show. And Brooklyn Brawler, like, hated me. He wanted nothing to do with me. He didn't understand how I got this show. Didn't understand. He's in the pre-tape room. Didn't understand how I got this show. And he's going, you're going to do, because you wipe with your right? And he's like, I'm going to Vince right now. And I was like, oh, like, nobody's in my favor. And so eventually it came out where I wiped my nose with my right. And then luckily, you know, the joke with Joey came in, and I wiped Joey's. And that was the joke, wasn't, because the joke was supposed to be I jerk off my right, but the joke ended up coming that I wiped my hand on Joey. And that's the start. And then luckily after all of those, I then didn't have to sit down with Joe Monk. I wrote them myself. I sent them right there. Some came off, some didn't. There was one that got edited that I said, I forgot what the joke was, but it was something about Big Bird. And like, hey, do you know, like, Big Bird and stuff off of us are taking over WWE? And the week before, Jack Swagger and Mark Henry were tagging, and I wanted to frame right to a picture of Swagger and Mark Henry. We're going to be Big Bird and Snuffleupagus. But I wrote everything. I directed it. I produced it. It was like my show. It was my baby. And I went in, and eventually I won over the Brooklyn Brawler. And because I talked to Miz and Morrison right away. I said, hey guys, I don't want to step on your toes. And they were like, no, they were great. And they were so cool about it. They're like, let's everybody have fun and get over and use the internet. I was like, thank God, man. And he was like, all right, Brawler's gonna hate you. You gotta win him over. He's like, he hated us. And he's like, you gotta just win him over. And the last week I won him over, and then I was fired right as I won him over. He's like, you'll know if you ever get over me. I'll give you my number, or I'll ask for your number. And then that week he asked for my number, and then I got fired. But that's how that came out, and that was my baby. You know, What's Crackin' was gonna be my baby. They didn't give me a name. I came up with What's Crackin'. Later they changed it to Good as Goldman because they wanted a catchier name. But I thought What's Crackin' was good. I thought it was hip. You know, I usually say that to people. So, you know, hey, What's Crackin', man? I thought, you know, let's stay hip. Let's stay, you know, alternative comedy in that genre. Like, I know WWE is doing some weird stuff on the TV, but, like, I've got this baby, and I'm going to do it, you know. I'm going to do what I want with it. And if I, and when I knew I could do what I want with it to a PG stance. When Joey Styles let me do the naked pictures that I did after Vicky Guerrero had the naked pictures, I came up with the funny naked pictures, and I knew that I could have some fun with it. And I thought it was getting better each week. And we had changed the format when I did the one with Bob Backlund. We had changed the format to just one big middle thing, because I always thought it was Talk Soup that we do like 3 different things, and they said that was going on too long, so we just did one thing. And before I had a bunch of other ones lined up. I had I wrote a love poem to Mike Knox's beard, and I was gonna read it on a frisbee like Lanny Poffo, and then frisbee was gonna have a beard on it. And I don't have it, but it was really funny. And then there was gonna be an ode to Lanny Poffo, and then he was gonna be in the background. And then I had one where Ric Flair did this promo with Jericho, and he went, "No," and like over exaggerated no. So I was gonna be like, "Hey, we got Ric Flair on the line. Have you ever seen? Hey, it's great to have you. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen the show?" And he'd be like, "No." I'd be like, "Oh, but you heard of it? No." "Oh, okay, all right, Nate. Can I call you Nate?" "No." "Mr. Flair?" "No." "Rick?" "No." Like, oh, gee, I thought you were gonna be easy to work with. All right, can I ask you some questions? "No." And then that was gonna go on. I forgot I had a punchline, but we had taped that one. That didn't air because I got fired. But I had some really creative stuff, and I was using that as my outlet. And the blog had got me to there, and there I hope was going to eventually get me to TV, but it just got cut short. And that was the thing I was most proud of was Scotty Goldman, or What's Crackin'.